Let me tell you something real. Nobody cares about your excuses. The world doesn't stop because you didn't show up. The game doesn't pause because you weren't ready. Excuses, they're the weak man's currency, and you can't build an empire with monopoly money. You want glory, you want power, you want that life they told you was impossible. Then execute, move now, because dreams don't work unless you do. Every second you spend whining, blaming, hesitating, someone else is out there grinding, hustling, taking what should have been yours. The pain of discipline, temporary. The pain of regret, eternal. You think the greats sat around making excuses? No, they bled, they fought, they executed when nobody was watching, and that's why they win. So ask yourself, are you a talker or a doer? Because empires aren't built with words, they're built with sweat, with sacrifice, with unstoppable action. So get up, start now, and execute like your life depends on it, because it does. The clock's ticking. What's your move? Let me hit you with the truth. Straight, no filter, no sugarcoating. Excuses are cancer to your dreams. They eat away at your potential, rot your ambition, and leave you weak. Every time you open your mouth to say, I can't, it's too hard, I'll do it later, you're not just lying to the world, you're lying to yourself, and that lie, it's the difference between winning and dying with regret. Think about it. When was the last time an excuse saved you? When did saying, I don't have time, ever give you more time? When did I'm not ready magically make you ready? Never. Because excuses don't solve problems, they are the problem. They're the chains keeping you locked in mediocrity while the world moves on without you. You want to know what real power is? It's looking at the mountain in front of you and saying, I don't care how steep it is, I'm climbing. It's staring at the impossible and doing it anyway. Because winners don't have fewer problems than losers, they just refuse to let those problems stop them. Look at the people who dominate this world, the ones with the money, the respect, the freedom. You think they got there by making excuses. You think they whined about fairness, about luck, about how hard it was. No, they executed. They took the hit, swallowed the pain, and kept moving forward when everyone else quit. Excuses are the language of the weak. They're what people use when they're too scared to admit they're afraid, too scared to admit they don't want it bad enough, because if you really wanted success, if you really wanted that life, you wouldn't let anything stop you. Not time, not money, not fear. You'd find a way or make one. Every time you blame someone else, your boss, your parents, your circumstances, you give away your power, you tell the universe, I'm not in control. And guess what? The universe listens. It says, okay, you want to be a victim, here's more to cry about. But when you own your life, when you stand up and say, no more excuses, I'm making it happen, the universe responds. Doors open, luck finds you, opportunities appear, not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. You know the most dangerous part of excuses. They sound reasonable. I'm too tired. I don't have the connections. It's not the right time. And because they sound logical, you believe them, but deep down, you know the truth. You know that if you really wanted it, you'd be up at 4 a.m. working. You'd be hustling, learning, pushing when everyone else is sleeping. You'd be obsessed, because that's what it takes. Success isn't for the comfortable. It's not for the people who wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There will always be a reason to delay, to hesitate, to quit. But the ones who rise, the ones who leave their mark on this world, they don't wait for perfect. They act, they adapt, they conquer. So ask yourself, how many dreams have you already buried under excuses? How many times have you talked yourself out of greatness before you even tried? And the real question, how much longer are you going to let excuses steal your life? Because here's the cold, hard reality. Nobody is coming to save you. No miracle is going to drop success in your lap. If you want it, you have to take it. And the first step, killing every excuse before it leaves your lips. The next time you feel that excuse rising in your throat, crush it. Replace it with action, because excuses don't build empires. Execution does, and the clock, it's already ticking. What are you going to do about it? Listen up, because this is where the rubber meets the road. The difference between those who win and those who lose isn't talent, isn't luck, isn't some magic blessing from the universe. It's execution. Pure, relentless, unstoppable action. Winners don't just dream, they do. Losers, they talk, they plan, they wait. And while they're stuck in their heads, winners are out there taking what they want. Think about it. How many people do you know who have big dreams, big talk? Big plans? Now, how many of them are actually living those dreams? Probably none, because talking is easy. Anyone can say, one day I'll be rich. Anyone can say, I'm going to start that business. But when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m., when the grind gets hard, when the world tells them no, that's when you see who's really built for this. That's when execution separates the kings from the clowns. You want to know the brutal truth? The world doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't care about what you could do, what you should do, what you would do if things were different. The world only cares about what you actually do. Results. Period. You can be the smartest person in the room, the most talented, the most creative. But if you don't execute, you're just another nobody with potential. And potential without action is just wasted talent. Look at the people who have what you want, the ones living the life you dream about. You think they got there by accident, by luck? Hell no. They got there because they moved when others hesitated. They worked when others partied. They persisted when others quit. They didn't wait for motivation. They created it. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They made the moment, because winners understand one fundamental law of success. Execution is everything. Execution is what turns a goal into reality. It's what turns a thought into a result. It's the bridge between wanting and having. And here's the kicker. Execution isn't some grand, heroic act. It's the small, daily choices. It's waking up early when you're tired. It's putting in the extra hour when no one's watching. It's saying no to distractions, no to excuses, no to anything that doesn't move you forward. Because winners know success isn't built in a day. It's built every day. Losers love to say it's not fair. Winners, they don't care about fair. They care about winning. They don't cry about the competition, the obstacles, the setbacks. They adapt. They overcome. They execute no matter what. Because at the end of the day, life isn't a test of who has the best ideas. It's a test of who has the guts to see them through. You want to know the real secret. Execution is a mindset. It's a refusal to be stopped. It's a fire inside you that burns so hot, nothing can put it out. It's looking at a challenge and saying, I don't care how many times I fail. I'm not leaving until I win. That's the mentality that changes lives. That's the mentality that builds empires. So ask yourself, are you executing or are you just existing? Are you doing or just dreaming? Because the clock is ticking, and every second you waste is another second someone else uses to outwork you, out-hustle you, and take what could have been yours. The choice is yours. You can be a winner or you can be a loser. But remember, winners aren't born, they're made through sweat, through grind, through execution. So what's it gonna be? Let me break your heart in the best possible way. Your dreams are worthless. That vision board collecting dust, meaningless. That business idea you've been perfecting for years, useless. Those late night fantasies about success, empty. Unless you back them up with action, they're just mental masturbation. Fantasy that keeps you warm at night while your real life stays exactly the same. The world is full of dreamers. Every bar, every coffee shop, every office has people talking about what they're going to do. But the streets, the boardrooms, the winner's circle, that's where you find the doers, the people who understood one brutal truth. Dreams don't manifest, they're built. Brick by bloody brick, through sweat, sacrifice, and relentless action. What's more painful? Looking back at 70 years of life, realizing you never actually tried, or pushing through temporary discomfort to make something real. The regret of inaction will haunt you longer than any failure ever could. Because when you fail, at least you know, at least you tried, but never trying, that's a special kind of hell reserved for people who were too scared to bet on themselves. Action is the great truth teller. It cuts through all the bullshit. You can say you want to be a millionaire, but your bank account shows the truth. You can claim you're building a business, but your daily habits reveal the reality. Action doesn't lie. Action is the ultimate judge of what you really want, because what you do every day, not what you think, not what you feel, not what you plan to do, determines where you end up. Here's the secret they don't teach you. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel like working, you start working and the feeling comes. You don't wait for inspiration to write, you start writing and inspiration shows up. The most successful people aren't the most motivated, they're the most disciplined. They show up when they don't want to. They push when it hurts. They execute when every fiber of their being is screaming to quit. Your dreams are like a map to buried treasure, useless unless you start digging. And here's the kicker, the digging changes you. The struggle, the setbacks, the grind, that's what transforms you from someone who wants success into someone who deserves it. The person who starts the journey isn't the same person who finishes it. Action doesn't just build your success, it builds you. Every day you delay is another day your future self will look back on with regret. That business you want to start, the body you want to build, the life you want to create, it's not coming to you. You have to go get it, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Time doesn't pause while you hesitate. The competition isn't sitting around waiting for you to get started. Right now, at this very moment, you have a choice. You can keep dreaming, keep planning, keep telling yourself one day, or you can start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not next year, today, because dreams without action are just noise. But dreams plus action, that's how legends are made. That's how ordinary people do extraordinary things. The bridge between where you are and where you want to be isn't made of wishes, it's made of work. Of early mornings and late nights, of saying no to distractions and yes to discipline, of falling down 7 times and getting up 8. This isn't about positive thinking, it's about proven doing. So what's it going to be? Another year of someday, or today, right now, becoming the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but does, the kind of person who looks at their goals and says, watch me, because the world doesn't need more dreamers. The world needs more doers, more people willing to get their hands dirty, more people brave enough to turn their vision into reality. Your move. Let me tell you a hard truth that will set you free if you let it. Nobody cares about what you say you're going to do. The universe doesn't give out participation trophies for good intentions. There's no prize for almost making it. The world only bows down to those who do, who put in the work when no one's watching, who bleed for their dreams, who refuse to take no for an answer. Look around you, the people living extraordinary lives, the ones with freedom, power, and respect. They didn't get there by talking a good game. They got there by playing the game, by showing up every damn day. By outworking, outthinking, and outlasting everyone else. The world isn't moved by speeches, it's moved by action, by results, by proof. You know what's the most pathetic sound in the world? I was going to start that business. I was going to get in shape. I was going to change my life, but I didn't. The graveyard is full of could-have-beens, a people with unlimited potential who never cashed it in because they were too busy talking about their dreams instead of living them. Don't let that be you. Here's the raw reality check. Ideas are worthless. Everyone has ideas. The homeless man on the street corner has $1 million ideas. The drunk at the bar has business plans that could change industries. What separates the winners from the dreamers? Execution. The ability to take that idea and turn it into something real. To endure the pain, the setbacks, the failures that come with making things happen. The market doesn't pay for potential. It pays for performance. Your boss doesn't promote you for what you might do, he promotes you for what you have done. Customers don't buy because of what you say you'll deliver, they buy because of what you actually deliver. This is the law of the jungle. Doers eat, talkers starve. Every second you spend explaining why you haven't done something is a second you could have spent doing it. Every minute you waste telling people about your plans is a minute you're not working on them. Greatness isn't built in conversation, it's built in isolation. In those lonely hours when you're grinding while everyone else is sleeping, partying, making excuses. The magic happens when you shift from saying, I will, to I am. I am building my business. I am transforming my body. I am creating my dream life. Present tense, immediate action. No more waiting for permission. No more waiting for the perfect conditions. The perfect time is now, and the perfect person to make it happen is you. Pain is temporary. Regret is forever. The pain of discipline, of forcing yourself to do what needs to be done, lasts minutes, hours, maybe days. But the regret of never trying, that lasts a lifetime. That's the weight that crushes souls. That's the ghost that haunts men on their deathbeds, not the failures they experienced, but the chances they never took. You want to know what real power feels like? It's looking in the mirror and knowing you're someone who finishes what they start. Someone who doesn't just talk about change, someone who makes change. Someone whose word is backed by action. That's the kind of person who commands respect. That's the kind of person who builds empires. The world is waiting to reward you, but only if you give it something to reward. It's waiting to applaud you, but only if you step on stage. It's waiting to make you rich, but only if you create value. The universe responds to movement, to energy, to action. It's time to stop telling your story and start living it. Right now, today, you have a choice. You can be all talk, or you can be all action. You can join the masses who dream but never do, or you can join the elite few who turn their dreams into reality. The path is simple but not easy. Shut your mouth and open your playbook. Stop announcing your plans and start executing them. The clock is ticking. Every moment you hesitate is another moment someone else is taking what could be yours. The world doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. So what are you waiting for? Get to work, make it happen. Let your results do the talking. Because in the end, the doers inherit the earth. Everyone else just gets a story about what they could have been. Let me hit you with a truth bomb that will shake your soul. The most agonizing pain you'll ever feel won't come from hard work, from failure, or from sacrifice. It will come from looking back at your life and realizing you never even tried, that you played it safe, that you chose comfort over courage, that you settled for good enough when greatness was within your reach. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. One path is paved with effort, struggle, and temporary discomfort, but leads to everything you've ever wanted. The other path is smooth, easy, and comfortable, but leads to a life of quiet desperation. And here's the brutal reality. Choosing comfort today plants the seeds for regret tomorrow. The pain you avoid now will multiply and come back to haunt you later. Think about the old men you see sitting on park benches, staring blankly into space. They're not thinking about the times they failed. They're torturing themselves over the chances they never took, the business they never started, the love they never pursued, the life they never lived. That's real pain. That's the kind of pain that eats you alive from the inside. You want to know what's more exhausting than grinding for your dreams? Waking up every morning knowing you're capable of more but too scared to go get it? Carrying the weight of untapped potential is the heaviest burden a person can bear. The what-ifs will follow you like ghosts, whispering in your ear at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. What if you had given it your all? What if you hadn't quit? What if you had just tried? Let me tell you about pain. The pain of discipline, waking up early, pushing through workouts, working late when you're exhausted. That pain makes you stronger. It forges you into a different person, but the pain of regret, that pain weakens you. It drains your spirit. It turns vibrant, passionate people into hollow shells of what they could have been. Here's the secret no one tells you. Hard work doesn't actually hurt as much as you think. The anticipation is worse than the reality. That moment before you start your workout, that's the hardest part. The first 5 minutes of studying, that's the struggle. Once you're in motion, once you're doing the work, you find strength you didn't know you had. The real suffering comes from never discovering how strong you actually are. Your future self is watching you right now. The person you'll be in 10 years is begging you through tears to fight today, to push through the temporary discomfort, to choose growth over comfort, because that person knows the truth. The temporary pain of effort fades, but the permanent pain of regret only grows stronger with time. Every great person you admire, every athlete, entrepreneur, artist, or leader, they all face the same choice you're facing right now: comfort or growth, safety or greatness. The difference is they chose to embrace the short-term pain. They understood that scars fade, but the soul-crushing weight of "I could have been" lasts forever. You weren't put on this earth to play small. You weren't given your talents and dreams just to bury them under fear and excuses. The universe doesn't create potential without also creating the opportunity to fulfill it. But here's the catch: you have to reach out and grab it. You have to be willing to endure the temporary struggles to earn the permanent rewards. Right now, today, you have a choice to make. You can avoid the pain of effort and guarantee yourself a life of regret. Or you can embrace the struggle and give yourself a shot at greatness. One path leads to temporary discomfort followed by permanent pride. The other leads to temporary comfort followed by permanent pain. The clock is ticking. Every day you delay is another day your future self will wish you had started. The pain is coming either way. The only question is which kind you choose. Will it be the pain that builds you or the pain that breaks you? The pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Make your choice, but make it with your eyes wide open. Because nothing hurts more than reaching the end of your life and realizing you had everything it took to succeed, but were too afraid to try. Don't let that be your story. Start writing a different ending today. Listen up, because this is the cold, hard truth you need to hear right now. Every time you make an excuse, you're not just killing time, you're killing your future. Every moment you spend justifying why you can't, shouldn't, or won't is another piece of your potential being stolen from you. And the thief isn't circumstance, isn't bad luck, isn't other people, the thief is you. Let that sink in. When you hit snooze instead of grinding, you're stealing from yourself. When you scroll mindlessly instead of building your empire, you're robbing your own future. When you say, "I'll start tomorrow," for the 100th time, you're committing the ultimate crime against your own greatness. And here's the brutal part, no one's coming to arrest you for this theft. The only punishment is waking up one day to realize you've stolen from yourself the life you could have had. Time doesn't care about your excuses. The clock keeps ticking whether you're working or whining. Opportunity doesn't pause because you're not ready. The world moves forward with or without you. And while you're stuck in your head making excuses, someone else is out there making history with the same 24 hours you wasted. Your potential is the most valuable currency you have. It's your birthright, your superpower, the raw material for everything you could ever become. But potential is perishable, it has an expiration date. Every day you don't use it, it rots a little more. Every excuse you make is another layer of dust settling on your greatness. And one day, you'll wake up to find that potential has spoiled not because you didn't have it, but because you didn't use it. Excuses are the chains that keep ordinary people trapped in ordinary lives. I don't have enough time, a chains. I don't have the right connections, a chains. It's not the perfect moment, chains. And here's what no one tells you: you hold the key right now, today. The moment you decide excuses no longer serve you is the moment those chains shatter. Think about the most successful person you know. The one living the life you want. You think they had more time than you, more luck, more advantages. No, they just had fewer excuses. They looked at the same 24 hours you have and said, "This is enough." They faced the same obstacles you do and said, "This won't stop me." They had the same fears you feel and said, "I'll do it anyway." Here's what excuses really are: their fear in disguise, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of looking stupid, fear of leaving your comfort zone. But here's what you need to understand: fear never goes away. The people who achieve greatness aren't fearless. They're just more committed to their dreams than they are to their comfort. They've made a non-negotiable decision that their potential is too valuable to waste on excuses. Your life is being built right now, in this very moment, by the choices you're making. Every time you choose an excuse over action, you're laying another brick in the prison of mediocrity. But every time you push through, every time you do the hard thing, every time you refuse to let excuses win, you're building a palace of possibilities. The most dangerous thing about excuses is how reasonable they sound. I'm too tired, reasonable. I don't have the money, reasonable. I'll do it when things calm down, reasonable. But reasonable excuses build unreasonable regret, the kind that keeps you up at night. The kind that makes you wonder what if, for the rest of your life. You want to know what real power feels like. It's looking at all the reasons you could quit and choosing to continue anyway. It's staring down your excuses and laughing in their face. It's becoming the kind of person who doesn't tolerate their own bullshit. That's when everything changes. That's when you stop being your own worst enemy and start being your own greatest ally. The battle isn't out there in the world. The real battle is in your mind right now, between the part of you that wants to grow and the part that wants to stay comfortable. And every excuse is a surrender to comfort. Every justification is a betrayal of your potential. So here's your wake-up call. The world doesn't need your excuses, it needs your gifts. Your family doesn't need your reasons why not, they need your success. Your future self doesn't need your apologies. They need your action. This is your life, this is your moment. The excuses will always be there, waiting to comfort you, to protect you from failure and disappointment. But greatness lies on the other side of those excuses. Your best self is waiting on the other side of those excuses. A life worth remembering is waiting on the other side of those excuses. The question isn't whether you're capable, we both know you are. The question is whether you're willing to stop stealing from your own future, whether you're ready to stop letting excuses rob you of your potential, whether you've finally had enough of being your own worst enemy. The clock is ticking, the world is waiting, your potential is begging to be unleashed. What's it going to be? Let me paint you a picture of what real success looks like. It's not a lightning strike of luck, not a magical overnight transformation, not some grand moment where destiny hands you everything on a silver platter. No, real success is a grind. A daily, relentless, unglamorous execution of the same disciplines over and over until those small, consistent actions stack into something unstoppable. You want an empire. You don't build it in a day, you build it today, then again tomorrow, then the day after that. You don't wait for motivation, you don't wait for inspiration, you don't wait for the perfect moment. You execute even when it's hard. Even when you don't feel like it, even when no one is watching, because empires aren't built by people who work only when it's easy. They're built by those who work especially when it's hard. Think about the greatest achievements in history, the billion-dollar companies, the world-changing innovations, the legendary careers. None of them happened by accident. They were built brick by brick. Every email sent, every call made, every extra hour put in when others quit. Every no turned into fuel, every failure turned into a lesson, every small win stacked on top of the last. That's how empires rise. Not by luck, not by talent alone, but by showing up day after day and doing the work when weaker hands would fold. You know what the most dangerous lie is? That success is supposed to be easy, that if it's hard, you're doing it wrong. That if you're not an overnight sensation, you've failed. That's bullshit. The truth, the road to greatness is paved with struggle, with doubt, with moments where quitting feels like the only option. But the ones who make it aren't the ones who never thought about quitting. They're the ones who kept going anyway. Execution is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, your connections, your past. It only cares about one thing. Are you willing to put in the reps? Are you willing to do what 99% of people won't? Not just once, not just when it's exciting, but every single day. Because that's the difference between dreaming and owning, between wanting and having, between being a spectator in your own life and being the architect of it. Here's the secret no one tells you: momentum is earned, not given. You don't wake up one day unstoppable. You become unstoppable by stringing together days, weeks, months of relentless execution, by refusing to let off the gas, by treating every day as another brick laid in the foundation of your empire. And brick by brick, day by day, that foundation becomes unshakable. You want to know why most people never build anything lasting? Because they're addicted to the idea of success, not the work of it. They want the reward without the grind, the respect without the sacrifice, the empire without the bricks. But that's not how this works. The universe doesn't hand out shortcuts to the top. The only way up is through the sweat, through the setbacks, through the days when progress feels invisible. But here's what's beautiful about execution. It compounds. Every effort, no matter how small, adds up. Every day you show up, you get stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, you build more resilience. And slowly, without you even realizing it, those bricks stack higher, the work gets easier, the momentum builds. And what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. So ask yourself, what's your brick today? What's that one action you can take right now that moves you forward? It doesn't have to be monumental. It just has to be done. Because empires aren't built in leaps, they're built in steps, in daily disciplines, in relentless execution. The world is waiting for your empire, but it won't build itself. So pick up your brick, lay it down. Then do it again tomorrow, and keep going until the world has no choice but to recognize what you've built. The blueprint is simple, the path is clear. The only question left is, will you execute?